Hello everyone, I am Swapnil, marketing manager over here at Lambda and our next session hits right at the heart of what we all are feeling in the testing world today. We have Jim here with us today. He is the software quality assurance director, and he has over 2 decades of experience in testing. He has worked across test execution, automation, management, and he has even mentored students at University of South Florida on testing industry trends. He has worked greatly across all these dimensions. And he's going to talk about balancing the release and sprint delivery speed with through testing. And honestly, if you're feeling the pressure to test fast while maintaining quality, you don't want to miss the session, and we are being asked to compress the schedules, pack more into sprints, and somehow test everything faster than ever. Jim is going to share some practical techniques to accelerate both test creation and execution without cutting corners on quality. Plus, he'll dive into how AI fits into the speed equation, right? And this will be interactive, so get ready to engage. There is going to be polls, there is going to be questions, there is going to be Q&A. Don't forget to add your questions in the Q&A section and share your test insights over social media with the hashtag TestMuConf. Jim, over to you.
All right. Thank you, Swapnil. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope everyone's enjoyed this conference. It has been just a phenomenal conference. I love how it's rolled out. So, give a lot of credit to Lambda Test for this kind of uh, community. And I actually called it city event because it's gotten so big and popular that it's turned into almost a city um, with its own zip code. So, this is just a fantastic event. I wanted to share with you for a moment, taking a break for 1 second from AI to talk about some things that are still plaguing us in our quality engineering day to day world. And we're going to see a little bit how AI can actually come in. So, for me, the way I'm trying to go approach AI is to say, okay, look, let me lay the baseline of where I'd want AI to go. Where do I want to have my thought leadership for my testers really driving scenarios, and what AI can do to help me with other stuff. So this is going to be this is going to be something that I just want to walk through, talk to you guys about. So without further ado, let me go through here. Today, we're going to talk about test case creation during sprints. I'm also going to be hitting you with a couple poll questions because I enjoy making sessions interactive. Speeding up test execution, accelerating the feedback loops. All right, let's talk about test case creation during sprints. So, a couple things I wanted to talk to you about here. We all are at that point, and tell me, you guys are going to be shaking your head. We get the user story. We are pressured, and now maybe there's extra points that come into our sprint. It's hard. We're being pressed to take those into the sprint and still pass it. Most of the times, we're probably doing happy path scenario testing for our given user story and sprint, backlog, negative testing, boundary testing, anything that we want to do and add that to the regression pile, or maybe other scenarios we want to do, is usually accumulating technical debt. I am sure most people are saying yes to that, but that's something we've got to change because now with the advent of AI, can we still put in our thoughts, the human interaction, the human testing? That's still a human-led event, right? But it's more, can AI help us really take away some of those areas to say, given my thoughts, where can I help lay out a little bit more AI foundation? So during the build of a feature, how are we factoring these scenarios in sprint? Edge casing, boundary, negative, integrated API testing, or equivalized class testing. So how are we able to accommodate those? Like say, when we look at a story, are we taking all those into account? So can we start to look at what edge cases is there? Populate with feature focused areas. So document those impact areas and the ones that could be there downstream. Again, I'm looking at this from a more an AI perspective. This is where I really would like AI to help assist me. But at the end of the day, I am the driver. AI is not driving what to test. I'm driving AI to say, help me with some of the step by steps, help me with some of the areas that we got to go. AI to the rescue here. Can AI help populate and build these tests for areas where they were doing in sprint development? There's got to be start with good acceptance criteria. There's a couple things that are going to come out during test planning and test case creation, or anything during that phase that is going to rear its ugly head, unfortunately. I do believe we have too many testers that are executing regression only. And they've been put in such a bad light to say that execute these manual regression tests. Folks, I've been at companies where they're still executing, they want the manual execution of those tests over and over again. It's not helping with our career. It's not giving that human interaction and what kind of understanding test behavior, understanding application behavior. Testing to me is understanding application behavior. It's not necessarily driving, like, did I test this one scenario? Did I do a check? It's got a bug. Okay, log it. What can AI do to help me with some of those areas? I think there's going to be a way in this world for agentic and prompt engineering to work hand in hand. But this is some areas where AI is, I think, can really come to the rescue to say, given this user story, what possible edge cases, boundary negative tests can be produced that will help me satisfy the requirements. So with that, Swapno, I'd like to ask poll one, question one. And guys, it's just a multiple choice answer. If you wouldn't mind, Swapno, piping out the poll. Hi, Swapnil, are you there?
Yeah, I have added the question, the poll.
Okay, beautiful. If you guys look in the chat panel on the polls to the right to say, what are the key challenges when creating test cases? Click any that apply. Again, I'd like to hear what the audience has, what kind of challenges that they're facing.
Yes, we have votes coming in for the polls.
Give it another, just one more quick minute, and then we'll just look at it together.
Sure.
As soon as it hits. All right, I think we've probably had enough time. Swapno, do we want to share the results?
Sure.
Let's just take a look together as a group. Let's see what people's key challenges are.
Yes, the poll is visible.
Yep. And then what are do we have the graph to show where
Yep.
how people are voting?
Yeah. So 44% of the people are saying not enough time to create proper test cases. 20% of the audience is saying lack of test coverage to alternate scenarios. And 24% of the people are saying limited application knowledge for vulnerable modules. And 12% of the population is saying inability of test tooling to create through test cases fast.
Okay. Thank you, Swapno. We can close that out and bring that back to my presentation.
Sure, let me add this poll.
And folks,
Yeah,
that's
your
what I would
presentation.
expect. It's a lot of which is time. So that's kind of why I said the timely test cases. Again, this is some things where we start to add in right at the user story level, insert AI to help us review that. And if it's not something I don't want, then I want to be able to edit and adjust properly because I know and you know what to test. AI does not. AI is just coming back to you. In my mind, it's just coming back to you and saying, this is what I recommend. And that's fine. It's almost like another consultant for me. All right. So let me move on here. Speeding up test execution. So let's talk about this. The first thing I'm looking at is always optimizing a framework, right? So you've taken time. Everyone's got a framework that they've built, whether it's commercial, open source, and they've built it. They want to make sure that any AI solution, I think that is the key, guys. If I was looking at any AI solution right now, I want to make sure it fits just like any automation tool or test management tool. It fits within my framework. It's not taking me to say, oh, you know what? You've got this beautifully coded framework. I'm just going to give you a low code, no code, or I'm going to give you something different that doesn't fit. If a low code, no code fits, okay. But I'd rather have something for me that fits within my framework, whatever that is. So, have we built our framework with this in mind? Test case suite modularity, object level extraction, test data extraction. So, what I mean by that is that the test case, the suites we have, before we're ready to go jumping into AI, do we have it modular enough that we can invoke more sessions? Object level extraction, that's always one of my big things. I don't like embedding my object level identification from a UI perspective within my script. Let me change it one place and then let that object level data persist throughout. And the same thing with test data, right? We ask our developers, don't hard code test data or don't hard code data in development code. Why are we going to do that the same in test? Let's keep our test data extracted. Automation maintenance feature stories. Just one point. One thing any place I've always gone into, I start by saying, we need to allocate I go right to the scrum masters and product owners. I talk to them about the value of automation, make sure they understand that and are on board with that. But I want to make sure that they say, we can have 1 point per sprint. If you're using a Fibonacci sequence here, 1 point per sprint that our engineers can dedicate to maintaining automation. It's going to break just like regular code. So we just want to make sure if we don't need it, we'll give you the point back. But we want to make sure that we have at least a 1 point. Folks, I would stress on this. There's something you could do today, go back to your Scrum Master, say, we need 1 point dedicated for automation maintenance. Redundancies. As an industry, I think we've kind of missed a little bit. What I've seen in organizations is a robust API strategy, a robust UI strategy, but very, very few. And I'm going to bet majority of the people here will say the same. Once they put their API level into a structure and a strategy, they separate that from their UI. Can we invoke the same? Can we invoke the two together? Can we have some APIs that are part of our UI tests? So even if we're validating some UI interaction, can we call some APIs to maybe fill data, populate data, or variation of some verifications and checks? Can't we use some APIs, insert them along the way, and marry that together? I think that'd be a pretty powerful thing if we do. I started doing that. I think that's a pretty powerful thing that we can start to enhance our framework even better. Another thing I want to talk about that is a huge, huge point for me. It's parallel testing techniques, right? So speed of web and mobile. You're right. We've got people on this call doing all kinds of web and mobile. It's probably rare now that we have one company that's just doing web automation or just doing mobile test automation. Everyone is doing a myriad of both. You're being asked to do it all. And oh, by the way, what are we focusing on? When we've got to do mobile, Okay, which devices are we looking at? Can we run mobile tests as part of a build pipeline? You know what? I know I rarely did that. And that was a strategy we were working on. How do we get some level of mobile interaction at a build level, just even if it's a small smoke test? That's something that on the mobile side, we need to get going on. Focus on the critical supported OS versions. I'm not necessarily caring about the actual device version, but I care about the operating system version. And I think when I'm talking with people, sometimes we get lost in the minutia and all the detail of mobile that we forget. Like, let's concentrate on the OS version, not necessarily all the various devices that we have as a starting point. If you got the bandwidth to test all devices, absolutely. But if we really had to be focused on what's critical, let's get the OS versions. Faster release cycles. So collaboration with our development teams, our Scrum Master, but not the product owner, to agree on how product scope and release cadence would look like. This is something where I think in a strong collaboration with your Scrum Master first to show how you're delivering the points, what the release cycle look like, and a combined effort to say this is from the Scrum Master, development, and quality assurance teams. This is product owner. This is what the release would look like, and how we are going to deliver feature by feature from sprints. So, a couple things I'm emphasizing here: make stronger relationship with the Scrum Master about the points and about how we're going to look like. What does the release cycle look like, at least from the testing perspective? Improved resource utilization, a parallel testing strategy. So when I went back to talking about the framework and say much more modularity at your test case level, I understand that that's something we've probably talked about. But really, if you take a look at your framework, I bet you probably could see ways where you could make more modularity among your tests. And I think that's a good exercise to do, especially in as a precursor to what you're about to do for AI. To say that given I want to have my structure maintained with these with no more of these with this suite in mind, no more than 5 test cases per suite. I'm just making that up, but again, some limited number to what that looks like. All right. So with that, I would like Swapnil. Can we ask poll number 2? I'm curious from our attendees to see what poll number 2 looks like.
Yeah, let me just add that poll.
So, what key challenges do you face
Yes.
during test execution?
Sure.
We'll give it just a minute to see what kind of responses we had.
Sure.
All right, Swapnil, if you want to read off some of the results that we've had.
Sure, let me show the question on stage. The question was, what key challenges do you face during test execution? And we are still receiving the votes. 40% of the
Okay.
people said that automation tests take too long to execute in the current environment. 30% of the people are saying CI/CD pipeline strategy needs to evolve further, needs more toolkits, and 20% of the people are saying tests are done in a serial order and not in a parallel test environment. Whereas 50% of the population is saying automation framework tooling is too complex and they need to simplify this overall.
Yeah. Okay. Those are some. Thank you for sharing that. All right, if you can bring it back, if you don't mind, bring it back to my presentation. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things, guys. One thing that I've tried to do. Let me go back into my presentation here. During every, let me jump into this. Every year, and I'll talk about this in a minute. Every year, I set my quarterly goals, right, for my team, me and my team about what we want to do, and that's not delivery goals to say we're going to test this. No, we're going to implement this. We're going to start to implement mobile automation. We're going to start to implement more better environment structure. But the last quarter of every year, what I've tried to do is put on a quarterly goal of reviewing our automation framework, spending time. Hey, are we using the right tool? Are we using the right mechanics? Is everything is all of our coding practices the best way it's possible? Is there any other levers, any other integrations we need to do? So I will talk to every vice president, everyone I'm always reporting to, and say I need a quarterly goal for this. Always refactor because it's just there's never a time. So this is my quarterly goal. I usually put it towards the end of the year, when we start to just right before our performance reviews, right? So I try to get that integrated into everything that we do. So more frequent testing. Promote the idea of promoting often a feature branch pipeline, but main branch pipeline multiple times a day. Why? Most companies I've seen, they have a build pipeline and a release pipeline. But if we're really implementing a strong parallel testing methodology and strategy, well, why can't we have more pipelines that are running? Why can't we have an automation one that's running? Why can't we have a performance one that's running? That's just a little bit more frequent, that's covering it off to say, yes, we have this release pipeline that covers the main scenarios, but we're also going to be watching our automation pipeline to see if any errors or any performance comes up. Quick defect detection. So along with that parallel testing techniques, what do we have? How can we automatically log defects? And it doesn't mean submit defects. Two very different things. Log it, yes. I want AI helping me with that. Log it so I can review if I feel that that's accurate description and there's more details I want to add to it. It's up to me to submit, because we've been in there way too much, everyone, where we have submitted defects from our automation when it was the automation failures. And that seems to break trust, and we don't want to do that. So defect template shells generated by automated test case review. Again, AI can absolutely hammer, and I'm working on this right now, some POCs to have AI help me with what it learned about I'm feeding it in to automate the defect shell, and this is how it should be able to fill it out for me to review. Production defect process. What was missed? How do we have that? So again, one of the things that I've stopped doing is much more like no defect reviews, no anything. I want a lot more asynchronous processes. So as soon as a defect comes out, use the channels you got to this group, to this Scrum team, to this product owner, to this. Everyone gets alerted. Hey, it looks like there might be a defect here. So they're on quick alert so we can react quickly as a team. It is not me who's just reviewing the defect and now having to go back, hey, product owner, I got to tell you about this. Oh, I got to go tell the Scrum Master. I should go tell the development manager as well. Like, let's let everyone in the loop. Once we submit that defect, it just goes out to the people that need to be in the know. And I think that's some of the configurations that you'll have to do. That's what I was doing, right? With whether it's in Slack, Teams, what have you. Real-time dashboards. Something that's published. What I did last job was publish real-time dashboards that we could refresh anytime within a channel. So it seems like, instead of like going into another application, going to do the work, people like working in channels. People are most comfortable communicating in channels. So let's use that as a mechanism to show people if they want to stay in their Slack application all day, which I'm going to bet at least 50% of us, or at least everyone spends 50% of their time, I bet, in some Slack channel, in some Teams channel every day. I would venture to say, I'm going to say that's 50% of your time, if not more. So let's use that as a mechanism to call out a dashboard when we see a problem. Code test coverage. I absolutely would love AIs. I know we've implemented tools on this, and there's different ways to go about this. But I would love AI to even help me further on this. I just want to get a sense. This doesn't. I'm going to put this out there. For me, code and test coverage does not mean if I have 100% code test coverage, that doesn't equate to quality. To me it means like, hey, I've hit the application areas, but you know what? If I still see production defects, where am I missing the deep part of the areas? Where am I doing that? I just don't want to miss something. I want to know that I've got some level of prioritized tests. It's a risk-based analysis, it's understanding. So if I have to go deeper into one area and leave testing the splash screen out of my automation test, I'm okay with that. If I don't have to test the code for my splash screen, but I test business critical functionality, I'm good. Defect density. This is another area where I'm playing with AI in our service now to get an understanding. This is where I'd like AI to help. And I think AI can be very, very strong. Tell me where my defects are the most dense. Like in this module, man, this thing, as soon as you just breathe on it, you touch it with your finger, it breaks. That's the kind of thing I want to know. Like, how brittle is this? So I had to feed it some instructions to say how many criticals, how many highs over the period of time were open, and how much, from an AI perspective, given a release, if I released on 8/21 within the week, within the 7 days, maybe you may have a 3, 7, or 2 week hypercare support team working on your releases. What does it look like and what kind of trends? I would love AI to tell me, Jim, within the release, two months or 2 days after every release, you happen to have all kinds of issues with your database drivers. And that seems to be the most that come in. That's the kind of analysis, boy, I'd like AI to help crunch the data for me to make the story. Just AI, help me crunch the data for that. So formal reviews to look at this product as a whole, take it offline to do a formal review. If we've got to do this, like this is big enough to say, guys, let's take a look at our last 3-month releases. I don't want to put that in a Slack channel. I want people engaged in a conversation. I think that's some of which I want to make sure we don't lose the human element in AI. AI can help me crunch some of these numbers, but these are conversations that we are delivering the message for software quality. Let's have AI help us crunch some of this data. So, a conclusion, and I'm going to ask one more poll before we take some questions. Outline detailed test case plan in sprints. Full. What do we have? Everything. Tell it all. I need now negative scenarios. I need boundary. I need equivalence class. I need integration. I need some end-to-end, whatever it may be. I know as an industry, by and large, we are not doing that because we know inherently we're not going to get the time to get that. AI is here. AI can help us to say, I'll help produce that for you, Jim, but you got to validate to see if that's right. I'm trying to interpret what you want out of a test case and build you something. So please tell me if that's correct. AI is there for that. A plan to execute all class and desired scenarios, even if some are manual. There is still nothing wrong. Again, we're still talking about automation. There may be there's still going to be scenarios out there that are better served manually. Fly through your test to execute. Just get through, including mobile as part of a build. I know that might be like a little different. Like you really want to put mobile as part of a build? We do. Review your test infrastructure. I said that's the biggest thing. Look at what you're using as your execution platform. Guys, you've got to make sure you have a fast execution platform. Because if we used one from a vendor one time that'll be shall remain nameless, where I had a quality engineering manager said, Jim, as you are the leader of the testing center of excellence for automation, please tell us you're not forcing us to use this particular vendor. Because if they execute at local host, it was 4 times, they measured it. It was 4 times faster to execute on their machine than to put it into a some kind of pipeline. And that was a killer, right? So that was an absolute killer. I made sure that we didn't have to do that, but it was very eye-opening to me. Accelerate those loops, asynchronous. So go back today. Think about your asynchronous process, like who needs to be, and really map it out. Maybe it's like a mind map where you're putting it in to say, when this defect in this product for this team comes in, alert this Scrum team, alert this product support team, alert this product owner, alert this project manager, alert, however the alerts want to come in, but make some of that asynchronous. And the sync one, we want to have, again, that meeting and say, I want to show you where all of our defects lie. So every time now, product owner, we're about to do this release and we're going to test this module. Just FYI, the last 8 releases, it has broken. This module is broken 2 days after. So it's obviously I would classify that as a volatile area. But again, more pipelines. What's to say that we can't have more? But your testing infrastructure, guys, if you're not looking at that testing infrastructure, please look at that. Right? Take a look that it can support the more pipelines, more everything, like done, test done as much as possible. You have 500 tests. Well, then what about 100 VMs? Can you support that with the strategy of having 5 tests per suite? Just go. Quick testing timelines. My last 2 companies ago, I worked with a team that had 5 initially. Before I got involved in it, it had 5,000 test cases to execute. That took approximately, by the time they fixed the breaks, what was breaking in it, it took about a week to run. So we did a lot of modernization of it, and it's working like a charm now. So with that, Swapnil, can you ask the final question? I just want to make sure. I'd just like to get your feedback, everyone.
Yes, I have added the question in the chat box, guys, and I have pinned that particular question in the chat. The question is, what challenges are you motivated to solve from this session today?
And so while we do that, Swapna, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, let people add their comments. In the meantime, let's go through the Q&A.
Yep, as their comment, I can start answering some. How are we doing on time? How much time do we have?
We have around 10, 12 minutes. So yeah, we can take
Beautiful.
3 to 4 questions. Yeah.
Okay.
So let me show the first question. This question is from Kunal Pratap. He's asking, what strategies do you use to maintain high quality testing without slowing down sprint delivery?
Yeah, so Kunal, that's what I'm trying to focus on. Everything about, we know that we can't accelerate or extend the sprint timelines. So I start to invoke more. I'm invoking more AI to clean up at least the strategies of what I want to create my test cases. All right, so start to help me produce the scenarios that really need to cover off this user story. But a lot of things, I think one of the things that's going to happen in here, there's going to be one thing we don't talk about is all the focus AI is going to put on the product owner. I don't hear that much, and you're going to hear it now. 2 things are going to be exposed with AI. One, I think if we have testers that are really not thoroughly thinking about the system under test and just focus on their own. I got to execute this regression. The second group of people I think extremely impacted by AI from a quality perspective, good and bad, are going to be product owners. If they're writing lazy user stories that don't really document the system because I'm writing it, but you know what? I'm gonna pick on Swapno for a minute. I know Swapno knows how to test it. So I'm just gonna write some things down, but I know Swapno's got it. So yeah, he knows what to do. No, but the AI doesn't. So I don't want to rely that Swapno, he can't take a day off because he knows what to test. But couple things, parallel testing. So really go through that, Kunal. Look at the parallel testing techniques, accelerate that. Look at AI for your test case planning. All right,
Oh,
let's
awesome.
move on.
Let's move on to the next question. This question is from Vijo. He's asking, in what ways can AI practically assist with test design, prioritization, and execution?
So what I'm looking at, and again, it feels like, Visual, I'm going to tell you something that probably everyone is going to feel relieved. I am no way an AI expert. I'm feeling my way through this just like everyone else. But what feels right to me, and what the strategy I'm starting to go with, and you ask me in 6 months, I may change up. But what feels right to me is having agentic AI produce a large sum of the stuff I got to do, the regression, the everything, the kind of mind-numbing testing activities that we got, mind-numbing checks, I would even say, that we have to do. But for the thorough testing that requires the interaction and my involvement, I want to use a little bit more prompting. If I have to rely, if I got to rely on only prompting to produce all of my tests, I kind of feel like I'm setting myself up for failure. It doesn't feel like the right way to go. There may be people on this call who have pure prompt strategies, and to you, I applaud, and I'd love to learn more. But it doesn't feel it with almost just under 3 decades of software quality engineering. I don't feel like that's the right way to go. But I would practically assist again on prompting. I would have Agentic produce my mass, and I would have the prompting come up with, given as a tester, given this scenario, please outline good negative testing, good scenarios, boundary testing, equivalized class, and some of those aspects. All right, let's go to the next one. Swapna?
Yes, the next question is from Vikas. Is asking, in a tight release crunch, which test category is the least risky to scale back? Unit, integration, UI, or performance?
Wow, good question. If you ask me, I would probably say UI. If I had to vote among that, and I say that is because I am interacting with the UI all the time. My unit, maybe it's an API level integration. If I have unit testing, integration testing, or performance testing exercising UI elements as anyways, if you asked me to, I would like, ideally, I reduce none. But if you ask me, it's probably the UI at this point for me, because I would say that through manual testing, maybe unit testing has some UI tests, integration maybe has some UI tests, performance has some UI tests, and maybe some automation has some UI components in there. I feel like it might get tested by proxy anyways. If you asked me to eliminate one, I don't want to. That's like giving up your favorite something. But if you asked me, that would be the one.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Let's pick up another question. This question is again from Kunal. How do you decide which test to prioritize when deadlines are tight but quality can't be compromised?
So what this is where I'd like to have AI come jump into the mix to say, here are the scenarios. Here's the scenarios that I've asked you to produce, and I want to review with my product owner to show which ones are we removing from this? Which tests are we removing? Kunal, it's not you removing the test. It's we as a group. You're coming to me and asking me, and I'm agreeing to that. I've had that. I'm going to give you one example, Kunal. I was working on an HR system, an SAP implementation at a company, and we did a full scenario review. And we always said for any HR implementation, you got to do a regression test of payroll. Always. Payroll can't fail. The business told us you do not need to test payroll. You do not need to. You do not need to. But it was such an agreement. Like we agreed, okay, so we're removing it. Day one, production implementation, there was a payroll fail. And the business came to us and said, you know what? We told you not to test it. So that's on us. The relationship forged because we did this decision together was so tight after that. But the business stepped up and said, we told you. So now we understand. So it took a small little failure. It was fixed immediately, but the relationship lasted forever. So I can't fault that. All right. What else we got?
There is one interesting question. This one is from Himanshu. How do you balance the need for rapid test creation for new features with the equally important but time-consuming task of maintaining and refactoring the existing automation suite?
So remember, Himanshu, one of the things I said, go back, talk to your Scrum Master. We would like to add a 1-point story in for automation maintenance. That is a given. That's basically a day of effort. You shouldn't have to just maintain it. Oh, by the way, and still maintain all of the points you need to deliver for a sprint. Start off with one. It may need to be a 3-point story at the end of the day, but go in and start with that. You've got to get that at the start of a sprint. When you're doing your sprint planning, add in that 1 point. Do that tomorrow, please. Go ask for that.
All right. Cool, then I'll mark this question as answered as well. Mm-hmm. So we have only 2 minutes, Jim. There are a lot of questions which we are yet to answer. So guys, for the questions which are currently unanswered, we'll answer them in our Lambda test community, right? So please go ahead and follow our Lambda test community. We'll answer the rest of the question there. Jim, we had asked a question which you shared earlier, right, in chat. Do you want me to share some of the responses which we got from it?
Yeah, yes, but I also want to take one more minute before we end up here. Let me stop sharing for a minute, and I would like to share something with you guys that we're really, really excited about. Something for the first time as part of the community. Let me share my screen. Is everyone familiar with Mr. Joe Colantonio? I think so.
Absolutely.
Test Guild, Automation Guild. Well, I talked to Joe about this. And folks, if you're wherever you're based in a month, I want you there. 4 weeks from today, if you go under the conferences, I talked Joe into doing an in-person live event. So we are doing a first ever Chicago event. We're going to be, I'm not based in Chicago. Chicago's my original home, but we're going to be doing this and it's free. It's free. I want to thank Lambda Test for sponsoring this, but we're going to be presenting a couple things. I'm going to be doing some presentation there. And Joe's going to be talking about where software is headed in the age of AI. And as well, I can announce it here first. If you're able to get there, guys, it's in Schaumburg, Illinois. Very strong chance. It looks like Jason Huggins, the founder of Selenium, will be talking about Selenium in the age of AI. So guys, this is a free event. Please, please join us here. free food, drinks, and you're gonna have you. It's just gonna be an incredible event. I want to make sure Test Guild, Lambda Test see that this is a worthwhile endeavor. So that was my shameless plug on that for a free event to please join us. We just want to see like the whole thought of TestMu is about community. I wanted to show also like show a little love to the Test Guild community as well. So that's so Apno, that's all I had.
Okay, so people are asking for the link for the session, right? So I'll just drop that link.
Yeah, hang on. Minor detail.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Hang on.
Yeah, I have shared the link. It's all right.
Oh, you did? Okay. Let me.
Yeah.
Is in. Let me post this in the chat right now as well. If you see that, guys.
Yes, awesome. I'll pin that link. Okay.
Okay. All right, everyone.
Yep. So yeah, we got few responses. Do you want me to share a few responses on the screen for the questions which we asked earlier?
Yeah, absolutely.
In automation, if you ask, here's one from in automation, if you ask to write cases on topic IC related, whole document draft for positive and negative cases. She said it was a good session. Thank you so much, Joe. And this one is from Abhilasha. She's saying, I'm driven to solve the challenges of scaling AI beyond pilots into enterprise-wide solutions. This includes overcoming barriers around usability, integration, and trust.
Abhishala, I'm just going to say this. Lasha, I'm sorry. I love it. Start small. Just do something really small. We're all figuring this out together. That's all I know.
Yes. We have Amandeep saying, I'm motivated to solve challenges around creating clear, concise, and impactful communications. We have Richard saying, I like the suggestion of using an AI as test consultant or test idea generator.
I know him. Rick,
actually,
hello,
I like this method.
Hello. I'll talk to you offline.
We have Nisha saying, for me, the key challenges is driving enterprise-wide adoption for agentic AI while keeping control of transparency and quality impact. That's right. So yeah, actually we are already ahead of time. So let's end this session, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. You were wonderful
everyone,
as always. Right?
Thank you.
Everyone,
thank you, everyone. Thank you for the engagement and enjoy the rest of the conference. Swapnil, thank you for all the help. Great conference.
Also, everyone, do share your insights over social media with the hashtag TestMuConf, and all the unanswered Q&As will be answered in our Lambda Test community. So yeah, thank you once again. Have a lovely evening.